Come, let us explore the 9th verse of the Great Garuda in Flight, a Dzogchen classic. This was written many centuries ago by Fri Vajra, who was known as Garam Dorje in Tibet. Together. Pristine awareness, and this is an important term, so I'm going to highlight it. Pristine awareness cannot manifest as an object that can be conceived. By establishing a mind attached to ancient sages, one ends up utterly tormented by striving and struggles. Omniscience arises only when one enters the path of the intrinsic reality. Now, intrinsic is a problematic term, so I'm going to do a quick Google search. I think intrinsic is synonymous with natural. Let me look that up there for a second. Let me look that up for a second. Okay, the meaning of intrinsic is belonging into the essential nature or constitution of a thing. So another one is let's see, Merriam-Webster has a bunch of synonyms. Essential, natural. So essential and natural, both used. So let's return over here. Natural reality. Okay, so here we go. What do we mean by pristine awareness? To elaborate this, I'm going to switch over to, what's the word I want to use? Oh, the word will come back to me. So I'm going to tap button 9. So, pristine awareness. Let's start with the word awareness. What if meditation was simply a fancy word for noticing? You see, every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, the sympathetic facet of our autonomic nervous system, which is ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, has evolved to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. So, because this is not concentration, because we are not picking and choosing what to notice and what to ignore, because we're being vulnerable and passive and random, we notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. But what are we to do with that which we notice? Meditation, my friends, could simply be a fancy term for physically relaxing and mentally releasing during our exhalation. During our exhalation, the parasympathetic facet or aspect of our autonomic nervous system, which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, has evolved to physically relax as well as mentally release that which we noticed during our previous inhalation to such a degree that which we noticed could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. That is a literal description. Now for a figurative description. Once again, here comes the wind-up. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. So, awareness is what we notice as we breathe in. The purity of that experience is what we experience as we relax in harmony with our exhalation. That fleeting non-graspability. That is what is meant. So let's return now to button 14. So pristine awareness cannot manifest as an object that can be conceived. Now this is expressed figuratively, so I'd like to express it to you literally for an interesting change of pace. What makes pristine awareness useful is, well, I guess I'll go back to the illustration. So I'm going to hit button 9. So Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including humans, including meditation teachers. So 90% of meditation teachers, and I was really shocked to discover this many, many years ago, but 90% of meditation teachers prance about the countryside convinced that being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel are where it's at. So it should come as little surprise that these bozos implore their students to excessively focus and excessively analyze. Sadly, this doing so exhausts our prefrontal cortex, increases the likelihood of us involuntarily presenting with symptoms of depression, and triggers our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. However, when we practice the pristine awareness of meditation and mindfulness, it calms our amygdala and gently stimulates the anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is the root of both compassion and love. So that is achieved by us passively cooperating with our autonomic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system is what the ancients described as our Buddha nature. So how do we do this? It's remarkably simple. We silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils. And we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. It's just that simple. So this ability to go with the flow, this ability to experience the highest love, which is spontaneous and uncontrived, does not come from blind faith, nor does it come from pseudo-intellectual, I have trouble with this word, theorizing. It comes from simply passively cooperating with our Buddha nature. Pristine awareness cannot manifest as an object that can be conceived. By establishing a mind attached to ancient sages, one ends up utterly tormented by striving and struggles. So, there are stories of ancient sages. Some of them are accurate, some of them are inaccurate. Some of them are exaggerations, some of them are fabrications. Our job is not to believe or disbelieve in the existence or attributes of ancient sages. Our job is not to emulate them. Our job is to practice mindfulness and meditation in a way that helps us become the people that our dogs already think we are. That's all that matters. The British used to say the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. The proof of our mindfulness and meditation is the ability that we're able to navigate life peacefully and lovingly despite all that we perceive, emote, intend, or reason, recall, and imagine. If a myth about a real or imagined ancient sage helps us to do that, great. If it hinders us, it no longer serves us. Consider medicine. Sometimes medicine expires and becomes poisonous. Sometimes medicine only works in small amounts. If we take too much, it harms us. That is an excellent metaphor for everything else in our lives, for everything else on our spiritual path. When the way we practice a path makes us nuttier than a shithouse rat, it's time to rethink our approach. Omniscience, and that's just a rather flamboyant nickname for enlightenment. Omniscience, and by the way, omniscience doesn't mean literally we know everything about everything. It means we know the ultimate nature of all things. And this was expressed pretty eloquently by Karma Chakme Rinpoche, who explained that once we explore one piece of bamboo and discover that, yes, it's round and it's knotted, but it's also hollow, then we pretty much get the basic nature of all bamboo, that all bamboo are round, knotted, and hollow. Similarly, every time we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less graspable. It feels non-graspable as what? You guessed it, a vast empty void. And we learn that that is the ultimate nature of all that we could notice. So, going back to the last sentence, omniscience arises only when one enters the path of the natural reality. And there are many ways of interpreting it. This is the one I think is most poignant. And I'm going to go back to button 9. When we practice active focus and specifically notice one thing and ignore everything else, that leads us many places, but not to the path of enlightenment. The only way to master the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the only way to master the Buddha's mindfulness and meditation, is by noticing, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleeting, whatever comes up, and by viscerally processing it during our exhalation, by physically relaxing, which helps us to mentally release. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to now shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker Friday evening. I'm using a chair because my arthritis is bothering me today. It is Luke Skywalker Friday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, we're going to play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Now, everything I use during these classes is available for free download just by playing with the links in the description area below the video. Everything I do is free. So, knock yourself out. Have fun. Play with these things. And when you have questions, bring them up during the next live stream you attend. So as we practice mindfulness and meditation, even for as little as 5 minutes every 12 hours or so, we could do it while lying down. We could do it while walking around the block. We could do it while sitting as best we can. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions approximately once every 13 minutes or so. Let's dig in. Each time we feel air enter our nostril, silently and mentally, we can recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Each time we feel air exit our nostril, we can silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. Doing so helps us to passively cooperate with the sympathetic and the parasympathetic aspects of our autonomic nervous system, our Buddha nature. This helps us to practice mindfulness and meditation in the most sustainable manner. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about every 13 minutes or so. we're going to make a subtle change. Each time we feel air, each time we feel our chest swell with air, we can silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb noticing. Each time we feel our chest sink, we could silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb relaxing. you have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 and a quarter hours, I would very much like to return to the tomorrow's morning meditation class, as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.